All right, let's go. Wake Up Mintzy time, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. We got a huge football weekend ahead. So much to get to. Drinking some afternoon iced coffee. Just got off the Planet Fitness treadmill. Feeling good. Feeling excited because they remember in November. Lots of big college football games ahead this weekend. We got our Thursday night Barstool football stream for Raiders Broncos. We're going to make a DraftKings parlay for that with Tyler Moody. We got Dude Wipes to clean up all our messes. What could be better as we head into this big weekend? Some stuff I want to shout out. The Barstool After Dark stream on Tuesday night was freaking epic. We played dodgeball against three of the top five college dodgeball teams, and we got the shit kicked out of us as expected. I took a ball straight to the face. Chief took one to the face. I mean, it was exactly what we thought, but it was a lot of fun. And got to give a big shout out to Lucas and Tate and Barstool Rye Guy and that team because yet another W After Dark stream. And I had one shining moment. I knocked out kind of the biggest villain of Grand Valley State, caught a ball. I was the coach and was out there playing in my dress shirt and slacks with socks on. It was crazy. But anyway, just great stream once again. And also check out the Before After Dark video log that just came out. They're doing some behind-the-scenes stuff that's great. As always, tons of stuff going on at Barstool. The Barstool College Football Show heading to Starkville. So their one SEC trip of the year. I mean, I got to give Brandon Walker some props, man. They've never gone to Starkville since he's been here. He's earned that. Georgia, Mississippi State on Saturday. Hopefully, Mississippi State will make that a watchable game. But check that out Saturday morning. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff. If you're in Starkville, get out and support that. Should be a hell of a time for sure. Joined by Tyler Moody. What's up, Mr. Moody? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me today?
I can hear you today. So today, we got everything checked, and the headset is plugged in today. So we're rolling. We're good.
Perfect. Good to hear. And I saw your viral clip from the dodgeball game the other day. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught it. So I was in a spot where he was so close to me that I think he thought he could just kind of like throw it and just get me out without like pegging me super hard. And he screwed up and kind of like did it too high. And I caught it, knocked him out. But dude, the villain, I thought he was saying bang out, but apparently every time he knocked somebody out, he'd say bingo. But I thought he was saying bang out. Because did you ever watch The Wire, Moody?
Yeah, it's been a while. But
so you remember how Omar would say, let's bang out of here in The Wire?
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was like shooting to get out of a spot that he was robbing. So I thought the dude was saying bang out. So when I knocked him out, I said bang out on these nuts. I thought it was funny.
No, it's pretty good. Looked like y'all had a good time. Y'all won, right?
Well, I mean, if you call it that. So the way the stream worked, we kept adding people till we had 20, and they had 8 on their team, and so we were playing 20 on 8. We lost that. Playing 20 on 7, lost that. I think we finally won a game that was like 20 on 5. It was bad. I mean, dude, those balls are coming in so hard. I mean, like Moody, this ball I took to the face, I thought I had like my bell got rung and I had a concussion for like 30 seconds. I had a headache, but then it went away. It was crazy, but really fun, great stream, and more Barstool After Dark fun stuff coming the next couple of weeks. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm part of the next two too. And man, this has really been a great thing all year. That they continue to build that brand. But Moody, what I want to talk to you about, and Chad as always, fire away. We got to make some bets. We're gonna go through college football and NFL for the week. We got Thursday night football. Not the best game tonight, Moody. Raiders, Broncos is an old school classic NFL rivalry, AFC West matchup. The Raiders are terrible, as you and I said was going to happen before the year. Denver keeps playing like crap for 3 quarters and finding a way in the fourth quarter with Sean Payton and Bo Nix changing that culture. They do have a good defense, but pulled one out last week in Houston, 18-15 in the fourth. They got a shot in that division, though, with the Chiefs losing again to have 4 losses. Denver playing, them and the Chargers, really got to be fighting hard to win every single game because if they're going to make a playoff run, I think they need to win that division and have some home field at Mile High and avoid going on the road 3 weeks in a row. So they got a lot to play for. They're a 9.5-point favorite, low over-under of 42.5 tonight. We'll make a parlay for that during the show for sure. Moody, how are you dealing with the post-World Series blues?
Oh, actually, I've been watching World Series Tuesday night. I took some time, watched the World Series highlights once again because it's sad. Me and my dad were talking about it yesterday. There's nothing on to watch now. Like the NBA, just it really doesn't do it for me. Wembanyama's been a ton of fun to watch. I'll say that's a great storyline for the NBA. Maybe he can save the NBA, but the NBA just doesn't do it for me anymore. And man, it sucks on a Tuesday or Wednesday night whenever you were getting all that juice every single night from the World Series not to have it. So Tuesday night, I went back and just watch as much of the game as I could, watch the highlights, and again, it's a World Series that'll go down in history. So, but we got the NFL tonight. Thank God, something good to watch. Good college football games this weekend, and then Week 10 of the NFL on Sunday.
Yeah, no, we got a lot to get excited. And then, college basketball kicked off on Monday. Florida, Arizona was a great game. Duke beat Texas the other night. Happy to have college hoops back. We'll have a lot of those holiday tournaments coming up. Obviously, Thanksgiving week, they always do Maui and all those tourneys. So that's excited to get that going again. I share your exact sentiment about the NBA. I'm just not into it at all. I need to get more into the NHL because I like the hockey playoffs, and as I get older, I like it more and more. But I just, this time of year when it's football season, I can't really get into anything else after World Series is over. What was that? Oh, did something happen?
I just realized that the Broncos play tonight and not on Sunday.
Yeah,
Bucky Irving and J.K. Dobbins trade.
That trade doesn't go through immediately.
Doesn't go through until Sunday.
Ooh, we're gonna have to check on that. We'll check on that right
I
after.
just realized that. Sorry about that. I just realized that that's a horrible, horrible thing.
I will run it up the chain, and he's talking about our big league we're in. Okay, I will check on that right after the show to see if that can get pushed through. And see. Damn, yeah. Well, that's some sobering news. Speaking of NFL, trade deadline has come and passed. Sauce Gardner traded to the Colts for 2 first-round picks. Look, I like what the Jets are doing. They're obviously terrible, but they're burning it all down. But they got 2 first-round picks in 2026 and 3 in 2027 and 2 second-round picks in 2026. That's a hell of a lot better than the Saints rebuilding. Like, if you're going to burn it down, at least they got, a lot of draft picks to rebuild. So I like that move by the Jets. The Colts, what do you think about the Colts going all in, going for it?
I thought it was a great move for everybody involved. I thought the Colts getting Sauce Gardner gives them a legitimate lockdown corner who's been elite this year. I know he hasn't been as good this year at taking the ball away as he has in the past, but he had the least amount of completions against him this season. So he's been just as good. I understand it's 2 first-round picks, but the Colts appear to be a team that's going to be good the next 2 years, so those are probably late-round picks. If you're the Jets, it just makes so much sense. Sell everything you can. I thought they should have traded Breece Hall and got anything they could for him because he's going to be a free agent this offseason as well. So I thought there was a lot of good moves that made sense with like every trade that happened at the deadline. You didn't see any really dumb moves happen. Usually there's one just really stupid move out there. I didn't think we saw that this year. I thought we saw a bunch of teams improve, make themselves better, and then the teams that were out of the race, I thought they got good compensation moving forward. And I loved it for the Colts. I thought that was a great move.
Well, yeah, the thing is about the Colts, and I know they lost last Sunday, but it's the right spot to go all in because now that they've got a quarterback they believe they can win with, this is a great roster. You got an elite O-line, running game with Taylor. You got weapons. Tyler Warren's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. You got a receiving core that got crapped on a lot, but it's actually not that bad with Pittman, Downs, and Alec Burt. They're not that bad. And on defense, they're tough up front, and they just added an elite corner. So I like them going for it, especially when you're in an AFC South that's pretty weak. Houston's having an off year because they can't block. And the Jaguars are winning, but kind of feel still a little smoke and mirrors. And so Indy's in the driver's seat in that division. They got a shot at home field in the AFC. So I like them going for it, but I do like what the Jets are doing. If you're going to suck, do what the Jets are doing, not what the Saints are doing. And the Saints made a couple moves, trading getting a 4th and a 5th back for Rashid Shaheed, who reunites with Clint Kubiak, last year's OC. I hate to see Shaheed go because he was one of my favorite Saints, but look, you got to get anything to get picks at this point. It is what it is. And getting 2 picks, now they have 7 in the draft. I mean, or I think they might have, and then they got one more pick. By the way, this is a rant. The Trevor Penning era ends with the 7th round pick from the Chargers. That move to trade up about 4 years ago in the draft, they traded up to get the Eagles' 24th overall pick. and they sent the next year's first rounder to trade up and take a project in Trevor Penning, who couldn't play tackle in the NFL because he didn't have feet. And the Eagles got the next year's first rounder, Moody. That next year's first round pick was the 8th pick because the Saints sucked. And you know who they used it on?
Who?
Jalen Carter. One of the best top, 3 to 5 defensive linemen in the NFL? I mean, and that trade destroyed the last few years for the Saints because Penning was such a bust. They've had to use 2 more O-line first-round picks since then, the last 2 years, on Flagga and Kelvin Banks this year because Penning couldn't play tackle. So you basically have been paying for that Penning mistake the whole time he's been there. I mean, literally it hurt him 4 drafts in a row. I mean, it was basically he was a part of 4 first-round picks because it just horrible move. And, and then that era ends with the 7th-round pick. And one of the funniest engagements I've seen on Twitter in a long time, the Saints post, thank you to Penning for your years of service, blah, 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 saying something. And our boy, friend of the show, Hold the Mayo, Snow Like John, tweets, y'all just give any MF a compliment. It's right at the Saints. And I screenshotted the Saints thing with the Hold the Mayo tweet under it. It was just one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. But, yeah, the Saints, you had a 4th, 5th, and 7th. That's not going to help a ton, but at least you're doing something. What'd you think of the Cowboys trading for Quinnen Williams? Because I liked it. I know he's a really good, stud D tackle, but, is that the right move for Dallas? You're getting a guy that's going to help you right now, but are you playing for right now? What's going on?
Yeah, it felt like if the Cowboys would have won last week, this move would feel even better. You would feel like you were in a chance to maybe get into the playoffs. It's a good move. They end up, look, he's a stud. Quinnen Williams is an absolute beast. So it's a good move. You get Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, and a first in exchange for Micah Parsons in a second. So, when you kind of look at everything and you don't have to give all the money to Micah Parsons, it ended up being a good move in the end for Jerry Jones. But it feels a little too late for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? At least this season. But I do think it's a good move for the future. I don't know. I didn't hate it. I'll tell you that. The Cowboys really didn't need to give Micah Parsons all that money. And so ending up with Quinnen Williams feels like a pretty good consolation, and Kenny Clark. I don't hate it. I don't love it.
Yeah, I just think they got to get Matt Eberflus out of there, man. You can't. If it's as bad as it's been, I know it's his first year, but this is the NFL. You got to stop somebody at some point. But any other trade?
The problem is they didn't get any better on the back end. Actually the pass rush and the line has been okay. It's not like they've been elite, but they've been okay. It's the corners that are just getting their asses cooked over and over and over. The secondary's been terrible. Cowboys didn't address that at all. So I know they got the linebacker from the Bengals fine. But he wasn't even starting. He had lost his starting spot in Cincinnati. So I don't know, man. I think the Cowboys, it just feels like they're decent moves, but it's not going to fix the problem. I did like the Jacoby Myers trade, though. I thought Jacksonville getting Jacoby Myers was a very good move for a team that just maybe lost their wide receiver for the year. So we'll see, how that goes, how that comes out.
Yeah, and he wanted out of Vegas before the year, so that makes total sense for sure. But I want to get into these games. There's some college football stuff to touch on too, and as always, chat fire away. We're gonna do a Thursday night parlay. You want me to? I've gone through it. I know you probably don't have a ton to add, but I went through and did a bunch of studying at college, and I got some thoughts for the week, so I can you can chime in if you got any thoughts, Moody. But we got some Thursday night college football. Tate's down there because Tate's friends with Alex Golish, the South Florida coach. UTSA at South Florida. South Florida's a 14-point favorite. Moody, the first 2 games we're going to talk about are the American Athletic Conference. There's 2 fascinating races going on with the American and the ACC where 4 or 5 teams could win it still. And literally the amount of scenarios are crazy. UTSA smoked Tulane last Thursday, and they're catching 14 tonight. And a game where South Florida, the over-under 67.5. I actually like South Florida because UTSA on the road is not – they're elite at home, but they're not the same on the road. And while 14 is a big number, when you see an over-under 67.5, I don't mind laying 14 when they're expecting the game to have 70 points. It's just totally different than an over-under that's like 40 because you've got a margin for error that's different. So I kind of lean South Florida tonight. Game I've got my eye on, fascinating game with my boys John Summerall and Tulane up in Memphis tomorrow night. Memphis is a 3.5-point favorite, 53.5. This game is so important for the American race because the loser's out. This is a loser leaves town matchup. Both Memphis and Tulane both have one loss. Memphis losing to UAB. Tulane getting blown out at UTSA. I mean, this game, like, the loser's out. This is a 5-team race with Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, North Texas, and Navy. So you got 5 teams still in it. And I actually pulled up the odds on DraftKings for the American and ACC. And, like, right now in this American mood, you got North Texas plus 210, South Florida plus 220, Memphis 280, Tulane 9-1, East Carolina. Well, actually, it's a 6-team race because you got East Carolina 12-1 and Navy 13-1. So Tulane's got to win this game, or Memphis has to win this game, and Memphis' quarterback is questionable for this game too. So that's throwing another wrench. The line went down from 6.5 to 3.5 over it. So I'm real curious to see how Tulane, how do they bounce back from that just absolute shit kicking they took last Thursday in San Antonio. But excited to see that matchup and see how this American breaks out for sure. John Summerall, anytime a job comes open, his name gets mentioned too. And so, they're dealing with the distraction with that. But I know he loves it. Nolan loves Tulane, so I'm not sure he's headed anywhere anytime soon. Moving on to Saturday, man, Penn State's fall in the Big Ten has, it's kind of just ruined a lot of the Big Ten season because you looked at Ohio State, Penn State last week, and Indiana, Penn State this week. These are supposed to be 2 of the marquee games of the year. And Ohio State and Indiana just get away with murder, in my opinion. Because, like, literally when you're in that league, I mean, what marquee games you got? Indiana, all the credit in the world goes to their win at Oregon, but they literally have a 1-game season. I mean, they're favorite, and they're killing everybody, and I do think they're legit. I'm not hating on them, but I just wish Penn State was, like, top 20 to where this was, like, a competitive game. Indiana, a 14.5-point favorite. Real curious to see what happens with Penn State and the coaching thing. Kind of think Drinkwitz from Missouri may end up at Penn State, Moody. That would be an interesting hire. He's doing great things in Missouri. But, who knows what's going to happen there. The game, Georgia at Mississippi State, the game Barstool's headed to. Georgia's a 9.5-point favorite, over under a 56.5. Moody, I've got a real opinion on this. I like the over in this game. You remember how crazy that Georgia-Ole Miss game was a few weeks ago? That 43-35 game? Mississippi State games get buck wild like that too. They score a lot of points, but their defense sucks. And so I think this is a game that, like, I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia scores 38, 41 points here. And I think State will score and fight at home because they've been fighting all year. They really hadn't been getting blown out. And they got their first SEC win coming back at Arkansas last week, 38-35. Finally got over that hump. But, when I look at this matchup, I just like the over. Period. That's my thoughts. And Georgia, good win last week against Florida. But, now you got an 11 a.m. road SEC game coming off a rivalry game. A little bit of a tricky spot. So I'm not going to lay the 9.5 here. I'm not necessarily taking State either, even though they've been fighting like hell in these games. But I'm just looking at the over.
Okay.
Next game. So the marquee game of the week, Lubbock, Texas. Undefeated BYU, who's been a big surprise after Retzloff ended up at Tulane, catching a big number here against one-loss Texas Tech. Texas Tech, a 10.5-point favorite, over under 51.5. Moody, this is the Mintz play of the week. I'm telling y'all, Put this. I'm gonna go with the side that may not be obvious. I love Texas Tech here. I think BYU's been overachieving all year. Texas Tech's defensive line is super legit. They've been kicking the shit out of everybody they play except for that loss at Arizona State. And I think this is a spot that BYU's due to get blown out. I think they've got a good, really good thing at home. But this is a spot when you look at the talent level after Texas Tech spent God knows how much money on the roster. Texas Tech just got far more talent. This thing being in Lubbock with the home field advantage. I think this is the spot. I think Texas Tech makes a big statement on Saturday, Moody. Big. Like wins by like 3 or 4 touchdowns, and everybody's like, holy crap, how good are they? Because people were realizing how good Texas Tech was, and then people kind of fell off it after that Arizona State game. But, man, they're damn good. They're legit. They're the best team in the Big 12. It's not even close, and they're going to prove that on Saturday. That's my strong play. That's the Mintz play of the week right there, Texas Tech.
I like that one a whole lot. Texas Tech's legitimate. That defense is – that's the reason they're so good. Their defense has to take over that game, though. And I agree with you. I think BYU's a little overrated. People were hyping BYU up a little too much in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Ohio State will kill Purdue. I have nothing to add there. I'm just touching on the big games here. Is what's going on. So I'm scrolling down as always on DraftKings. Interesting game. One Big Ten game of note. Oregon at Iowa. Oregon a 6.5-point favorite. Low over under at 42.5. I think Oregon's got to watch out here for an upset because Oregon's offense didn't look good at Penn State or against Indiana. On the road at Iowa is so tricky, Moody. They've been upsetting people at home forever. They play defense. They muck the game up. This is like a game that could be 2017 either way. And, Iowa lost. Indiana scored late to beat Iowa on the road, but Iowa fought Indiana at home. And this just reeks of a November game that Oregon could lose, in my opinion. This is a tough trip. And I like Iowa plus 6.5. I think that's a good value. And kind of looking at lines and point spreads, like 6.5 here, like I talked about laying 14 with South Florida, that over under 67.5. It's going to be a shootout. 6.5 is a shit ton of points when the over under is only 42.5 in this game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Oregon not usually the same team away from Autzen either. Their only loss this season has come away from Autzen. So
they lost at Autzen.
They
actually lost at home to Indiana.
Oh, you're right. Okay, never mind. That's Big Ten, not home away split. My bad.
No worries. But yeah, I don't know. Either way, like I could see Oregon winning a close game here, but I like the 6.5. Texas A&M undefeated, laying 7 at Missouri. One thing that's a little interesting here for A&M, and this is my buddy got me on this theory, and this is kind of a theory people haven't talked about, Moody. Sometimes a bye week is not a good thing. Like A&M got such a thrilling win at LSU going into that bye, but now they're hearing everybody talk about them being number 3 in the playoff rankings. College football playoff rankings came out, and you got a little bit of a weird trip here to Columbia, Missouri. 2:30. This is the big ABC game. Missouri without their quarterback, though, they're not the same without Pabula. So, I mean, I think A&M will pull this out, but I don't know that I'd lay the 7. This is almost like I don't know that bye week and A&M hearing how good they are is necessarily the best thing. I know that's kind of like an inverse theory because you would think the bye week is good, but sometimes maybe it's not. And you saw that with Ole Miss earlier this year. They had their bye after they beat LSU, and then they freaking struggled with Washington State off the bye because they were hearing that they were top 5. And so I think I don't know, it's a little more of a tricky spot than people think in that matchup. So I'm curious to see what happens. Auburn at Vandy. So Hugh Freeze fired on Sunday. Auburn's a 6.5 point dog at Vandy, over under 45.5. Two interesting spots in the SEC. Auburn getting rid of Freeze. DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator now, the interim. He was a Maryland head coach when that guy died and got fired over it. Auburn might play pretty well in this game, though. A lot of times, that interim bump you see, especially when players are playing for a head coach they don't like. I think there's a chance Auburn fights in this game. I don't know if they win, but I don't know that I'm running to bet Vandy here in this spot either. Vandy off that loss at Texas, that game looked closer than it was. I mean, Texas was up big. Credit to Vandy for not giving up. Diego Pavia threw for 365, and they almost got that onside and ended up losing by 3. And Vanderbilt's still holding on to playoff hopes, even with that Texas loss. If they beat Auburn, Kentucky, and at Tennessee win the next 3, they'll get in. So a lot on the line here, but I expect this to be a close game. I'm expecting Auburn's kind of, as bad as it's been, and that was a horrible loss at home to Kentucky. They got Freeze fired 10-3 last week. They still haven't really gotten blown out any this year. Their defense has done a good job keeping them in games, but their offense just can't score because they don't have a quarterback or an offensive line. Other games to touch on, I just a quick one that I like. Louisville's favored by 18.5 at home over Cal, and I know that's a big number, but they're going to beat the shit out of them. I mean, cross-country trip, Louisville at home. Louisville's very good, has a shot to win the ACC. You're catching Cal on the road here. I think that's a blowout. It's crazy to me looking at the Florida State-Clemson game, which you would think is the marquee game in the ACC, how little this game means this year. Clemson's 1.5. I don't have a clue who's going to win. I just can't believe going into the year, after Florida State beat Bama and Clemson was hyped up as top 3 preseason. I mean, you're talking about a game that means nothing, Moody. And you think how big that game's been through the years. LSU plus 10 at Alabama, 49.5. Frank Wilson coaching for LSU. This is that spot where, I don't know if LSU can win, but I think they're going to fight like hell. Because those players, look at all the stuff that's been said about Kelly since they let him go.
Yeah.
they're gonna play really hard for Frank Wilson. You hadn't heard one story of like, oh, I'm so, because usually when a coach gets fired, you'll hear stuff like, oh, we liked him, and you'll hear the stories. Nobody was mad when Kelly got fired, and so I think that means they're going to play hard. I don't know if they can win, but kind of LSU and Auburn both in spots where I'm not expecting them to roll over with the interim. What do you think?
And I'm curious to see how LSU's offense plays in this game. I know Joe Sloan's your boy and everything, but will this offense look dramatically different? Because that was one of the main reasons LSU struggled this season. They looked awful offensively for a majority of the season. They had a quarterback coming into the season that some people were looking at as not only a Heisman candidate, potentially a number one overall pick, and Nussmeier has not played well. This is a big spot for the LSU offense and for Nussmeier to kind of rebuild themselves. If LSU could go into Alabama and pull off an upset, it would do so much for everyone's stock there. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it is certainly the biggest thing to pay attention to as far as the late games on Saturday are concerned.
Yeah, no doubt. And LSU Bama is always a thing. The thing is with LSU though, even with the new staff, you still got a terrible offensive line and no running game. And so it's going to be very hard to win on the road anytime you've got that as your issues. And I know Bama also had a bye. Bama went through the gauntlet. I know they struggled at South Carolina winning in overtime, but they beat ranked opponents 4 weeks in a row before that. And so they're probably kind of tired on that fifth week at South Carolina, but now they're refreshed. And so that's actually a spot, unlike A&M, where I think the bye week was needed because they had such a tough schedule and tough run. So, but I am curious to see what's LSU going to look like, and all kinds of stuff going on there with that coaching search as well. Sort of think Kentucky might beat Florida, Moody. Florida's a 3-point favorite at Kentucky. Stoops, a lot of people say he's on the way out. He might save another year because he's got a big buyout. And, is Kentucky, do they care to spend all that money on football when they spend it on basketball? And the thing is, you're catching Florida. They just had their Super Bowl against Georgia, lost a hard-fought rivalry game, and now you go on the road. Where are they mentally playing for an interim coach in a second week here? So, I wouldn't be shocked if Kentucky pulled one here. I think it's possible. That's kind of
I can see that. Mintzy, Zach Colts was asking you, what do you think about Fickle returning to Wisconsin next season? He said it was a little head-scratching to him. What do you think about that?
That's crazy to me, and Big Cat really addressed that. I mean, I don't see how you can bring him back. I mean, they lose by 30 every week. I know they probably have a buyout thing that's tough and it's a money thing in this NIL era because Fickle, it's so crazy how fast things change. Moody, when they hired him, I mean, he was the guy. He got Cincinnati to the playoffs. Everybody thought that was not a home run hire. Everybody thought that was a grand slam hire when they got him, and it's been a disaster. But what are you telling your students and your fans when you say we're giving him another year here when you're losing by 30 or 40 every week? I mean, it'd be one thing if they were competing, but they're getting blown out all the time. So I'm surprised. But it's also, Wisconsin's also thinking here, there's just so many jobs open right now that are good jobs that some of these schools that are second tier are worried about, and I think that's what I'm talking about with Kentucky too. You don't want to be hiring a coach this year when there's so many, you're looking at Penn State, Auburn, LSU, Arkansas is going to be open, Oklahoma State. There's a lot of big jobs that are open, and it's way more than normal. And so I think that's part of it is they don't want to be in that hiring cycle. Just my thoughts.
I can see that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, do you want to do the NFL Thursday night parlay or go through the games first?
Whatever you got. I haven't really looked at tonight's game. I rattled myself a little bit with this trade, so I'm gonna let you run through the Thursday night football slate. Whatever you like tonight, I will tell.
Okay. Well, I first looking at tonight, we got a 30% boost on DraftKings, so obviously love that. Denver minus 9.5, 42.5. Denver's got a really good defense. The Raiders got their heart broken in OT when they scored, and that 2-point conversion got batted down for the Jags to win. Short week, so kind of a tough spot. This is an old rivalry game. Laying a lot of points in division games can sometimes be dicey, so I'm not sure I really trust to lay the 9.5 because Denver, they come out and play ugly sometimes. I do like under 42.5 here. I just don't see how the Raiders are going to score more than 13 points tonight, Moody. I just don't see it. Denver's got a really good defense. And the Raiders, Brock Bowers being back is huge. He had 12 for 129, 3 touchdowns last week. And incredible game. But I don't know, man. This Raiders thing's bad. So I lean under.
Well, and now there's no Jacoby Myers, which means Trey Tucker is your number one receiver. He doesn't run great routes. I mean, everything that he does is in the short to intermediate. They throw him screens and stuff. Like, there's no way you don't just double Bowers in this game. You know what I mean? Like, I really legitimately do not see a path for the Raiders to score more than 10 points in this game. If they do, like, credit to them. But I think this is a blowout spot for Denver.
You know what? You just made me realize something. I want to take the Raiders under team total instead of the under in the game because Denver could blow them out. I think that might be what I do.
I mean, it's just like where are the Raiders getting points tonight? Unless Genty busts a long one. I know Bowers had a monster showing last week, but there's no way Denver doesn't just try and take him away in this game, put everything on Trey Tucker and Thornton on the outside. And Thornton was inactive last week. The only reason he's going to be starting is because Jacoby Myers just got traded away. So Tucker's drawing number one coverage. Like, what are you doing with Surtain in this game is the real question. Are you just going to put him on Bowers? Are you gonna try and run some kind of unique look and lock him down with your stud corner? Like, I'm really curious to see how Denver elects to attack the Raiders tonight. But I just don't see a path, no matter what Denver does, for Las Vegas to get it going in this game. I really don't, unless Genty puts the team on his back.
Yeah, well, Genty's over under 55.5. I mean, I would kind of almost lean under. But I'll tell you one thing I like. R.J. Harvey has 5 touchdowns the last 3 weeks, and he's plus 230 to score tonight. I think, as the year goes on, and I mean, Dobbins is good, but, you got a rookie running back kind of emerging, and I like Harvey to find the end zone again at plus 230. That's good odds with how much he's been scoring lately. So we'll go. So far, we got Harvey. We got Harvey to score a touchdown under 42.5, and I think I'm going to take under on Genty and see what that is. I don't think it'll boost it a ton. All right, we got. You know what? We're going to go with the one tonight. What do you think about under 55.5 Genty, under 42.5 total, and Harvey anytime touchdown? Would you prefer me to do the Raiders? Let me see if I can find. I'm searching on DraftKings to find the Raiders team total. I think I want to do their under over the under in the game.
I mean, they can't be more than 16.5. There's no way.
Where do you find that team total? I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to figure out where the team total thing is. Let's see.
It'll be under team props, probably.
Okay, team props.
Yep, team props. So they are.
They're 16.5. You know what? I'm gonna adjust that.
Nailed that.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm yanking out the under 42.5. How about Raiders under? Let's go under 14.5 at plus 120. That's
I like it.
That's 10-1 with the boost. It'll be 13-1. We're gonna go with the shorter one tonight. 13-1. R.J. Harvey anytime touchdown. Raiders under 14.5 and Genty under 55.5. I want to hit one. I was crushing them and hitting so many, and then I've been cold the last few weeks. So we're gonna go with one that's like a little less odds tonight and just try to hit one at 13-1. So there you go. That's what it is. You like
Say
it
one more time for the chat.
R.J. Harvey anytime touchdown, under 14.5 Raiders points, and under 55.5 Genty rushing. It's 10-1, but there's a 30% DraftKings boost, so it's 13-1. It's just
Anthony. No, go ahead.
Well, I was saying it's too hard to figure out Broncos player props because he throws the ball to everybody, and like Sutton's the number one receiver, but like he's throwing it to Franklin and Marvin Mims and running backs, and it's like really a mess to figure out who's going to get the ball in a Sean Payton offense because it goes to so many people.
For sure. Anthony Thorne said he likes Nix's passing yards tonight. How do you feel about Bo Nix torching the Raiders secondary?
I mean, I think game flow, if they get up and the Raiders can't do anything on offense, they could be running the ball second half is my concern.
Yeah. This is the kind of game I could see the backups for Denver potentially getting in. Like, I think this has serious blowout potential tonight.
That's why I like the Harvey thing. Like, I think he'll get run here. And you know what? I think we can – let me see what adding some yards on Harvey does to it because I think he's going to get some carries. Let's see if we can maybe boost it a little bit to get us better odds. If we get 25 Harvey rushing yards, it gets to 15-1. and that's with before the boost. Let's do it. All right, if you add so we're adding the fourth leg. 25 Harvey rushing yards, that gets us to 15-1 before the boost, and with the boost, that should add it to almost right below 20-1. So we're gonna do that.
Patrick Surtain is not playing tonight. Does that change anything for you?
I mean, it would if the Raiders had real receivers, but it's just like, okay, maybe that does help Trey Tucker, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah,
Denver's got a damn.
I did not know he wasn't playing.
Denver's got a damn good defense. All right, we're adding now R.J. Harvey over 25 rushing yards. I thought about doing 40, but that's just too greedy. You know, he's the backup, so let's do 25. And now, so it's almost 20-1. All right, let's hit some games on Sunday. We got the first game. We got a Falcons-Colts game from Berlin, 8:30. Colts 6.5, over under 48.5. I wish this game was in Indy or Atlanta, because if it was in either spot, you've got a prop off situation where you could put together a parlay. I don't know what the hell it being in Germany means at all.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing that I'm curious about in this game is how much is Sauce Gardner going to play? Will he just shadow Drake London the entire time? Do you just say, hey, look, you're starting this game, you're shadowing him, and he doesn't necessarily need to know the entire playbook defensively? He just knows that he's locking down Drake London the entire game. So I'm curious to see how much he gets used. I would lean Colts in this game for sure. Bounce back spot for them off a loss. The defense can only be better, you would assume. So I like the Colts in this spot. Don't love them, but I like them.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Atlanta, it's hard to – that kid, man, their kicking just killed them. I mean, they missed that extra point at New England, lost by one. I remember they missed that field goal against Tampa week 1, too. I mean, Atlanta has directly lost
games in that game.
Yeah. I don't have an opinion really on this game. Like I said, I would like the over if it was in Indy or Atlanta, but in Germany, I don't know. It's a weird. I do have one thing on it. I'm looking for a Jonathan Taylor bounce back game after he had a bad game. Atlanta's got a good pass D, but their run D's weak, and that's how you attack them. Yep. So the Colts are going to line up and run the damn ball on them. So look for a Taylor big game. Buffalo minus 9.5 at Miami, 50.5. Buffalo usually doesn't play the best down there, and they're off that big Chiefs win. I think they'll definitely win, but this is a division game. Remember how much Miami fought them earlier in the year up there, and I know this isn't the same Miami team without Tyreek Hill, and they fired their GM, but this is kind of one of those spots where I think betting Buffalo is not smart necessarily, and I'm not saying take Miami, but I think this is a division game and stuff like that. So I actually, I know it's weird to say, I actually would lean under 50.5 if anything. I think this game might be a little uglier than people think. I don't know that this thing's going to be the shootout that people expect.
There's also a possibility that James Cook sits out this week. He's dealing with an injury, and I don't know that you have to push him. He missed practice yesterday. I think he may have missed it today as well. So it's one of those situations where you don't really have to push him. You think you can probably beat the Dolphins with Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. So if James Cook doesn't play, I'm not touching this game no matter what, but I would possibly lean Miami.
Okay. Giants-Bears, this one actually could be the sneaky over game of the week, 46.5. Bears are 4.5-point favorite. I mean, give the Bears credit. I know they're not that great, but but they find a way to win these games, and I think that's credit to Ben Johnson. I kind of like the over here. I think we got another game.
Love the over. Yeah, love the over in this spot. I just think both defenses are terrible. The Bears' offense is good. I mean, they really are. I don't love Caleb Williams, but they're scoring points right now because of the genius of Ben Johnson, right? The things he's drawing up, the trick plays, it's all been on full display the last couple of weeks for the Bears, and that's the reason that they're winning some of these games. They do not win that game last week for a multitude of reasons, especially if he doesn't pull out his bag of tricks earlier in the contest when they were running all the wild stuff in the red zone. DJ Moore throwing a touchdown. They did a throwback to Caleb Williams earlier in the game as well. Ben Johnson has been in his bag the last couple weeks, and I think this is going to be a shootout. Jackson Dart has continued to ball out even against good defenses. I think he does the same thing against a bad defense. Love over 46.5.
Look out for Dart. Let me see what the rushing touchdown is. He's been running them in every week, and the odds have been huge.
Every week.
Yeah, he's they finally figured it out. He's plus 185 this week. He's been plus 350 every week, and I was like, man, there's no way that's going to stand. I mean, 185 is still probably a good value. He runs it in all the time. Ravens by 4.5 at Minnesota. Minnesota, what a win last week, right when you counted them out. I know J.J. McCarthy only he hadn't thrown for like big yards, but he did look a ton better last week. And we talked on the Fantasy Football Factory pod. This feels like the week Justin Jefferson gets it going, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think JJ has a good game. I still like Baltimore in this game. They're getting healthy on defense, so that's one thing to pay attention to here. And they're 3-5 now. That division is still not great. Like they could easily still run down Pittsburgh down the stretch. So this is one of those games that Baltimore must have. There's a lot of must-haves down the stretch for Baltimore. This is the kind of game they must win. I think they get it done against a rookie quarterback. I think JJ is going to be better than what we saw early in the season, but I still don't trust him just yet. I think this is a spot where Baltimore wins this game. I would be willing to lay the 4.5 with Baltimore.
Okay, over under 48.5. I don't really have an opinion there. New England Patriots at Tampa. This ought to be fun. Gruden and Dave, I believe, are going. Dave Portnoy's down there going to this game. Tampa's 2.5, 48.5. I mean, the Pats really coming on. They're in first in that division. Tampa off a bye that they needed because they were really, really beat up. Bucky Irving didn't practice today, though, so it doesn't bode well for him playing Sunday, it doesn't look like. So I'm curious to see who all they got back. Do you have any thoughts here? I don't really have a read on this game.
I still don't feel like the Patriots are 7-2. Like I don't feel like they're that great. Kayshon Boutte has missed practice all week as well. I like Tampa in this game. I think I like them quite a bit, to be honest with you. I just don't trust the Patriots yet. And no Boutte, probably Ramondre Stevenson's going to be out again, so a lot of that's going to fall on Travion Henderson, and Jennings was in the backfield. He got a touchdown in that last game. I don't think they can do the same thing against the Bucs. I like the Bucs minus 2.5.
Also, New England has a good run D, but if you're going to attack them, it's through the air, so Baker could have a game. That could be a matchup thing to watch. Saints plus 5.5 at Carolina, 39.5. Like, I actually like Carolina here. Carolina's been good at home all year, and the Saints. I mean, I just can't see how with Tyler Shuck going out there, the Saints can win a road. They did beat the Giants with all his turnovers, and they might be able to beat the Jets at home, but I don't see how the Saints can win a road football game. Period. Doesn't matter who they play. I just don't see.
Yeah, especially without Shaheed. And to be honest with you, the Panthers' defense has been much better. I'm not touching this game, but I think Carolina's probably the right side, even though laying 5.5 with Carolina does not feel good.
Jacksonville by 1.5 at Houston, 37.5. C.J. Stroud, not sure if he's going to go. Got banged up last week. Of course he got banged up because he's got the worst O-line I've seen in the NFL this year.
He was scrambling, and he got freaking crushed. I mean, KO'd, boarded up. I mean, it was a bad one. I'll be shocked if he plays on Sunday with the way he took that concussion. It was a rough one. And Jacksonville gets Jacoby Myers. We'll see how much he plays in this game. Brian Thomas Jr. has not been practicing, so there's a lot of question marks in this game. This is one I don't really want to touch right now. I want to see what happens going into the day on Sunday.
Yeah, I lean under here, as I do every time the Houston Texans take the field.
Agreed.
Because and this is also a division game, and they play their asses off on defense, so I like the under in this matchup. Cleveland at the Jets. How about Cleveland laying 1.5 on the road? That's how bad the Jets are. That's so funny.
And I love Cleveland this week. I love Cleveland. They've been good to me. When I've bet Cleveland, they've been good to me this year. They're going to play defense. They're going to run the football with Quinshon Judkins in this game. Judkins is going to have another pop-off game. Love Cleveland minus 1.5. Maybe the under is good here. It's a low number, 37.5. So I could see the under as well. But I love Judkins. I just don't think this Jets offense has much to offer up right now. Garrett Wilson has practiced this week. He's a game-time decision on Sunday, I think. But I love the Browns. I really do.
Arizona plus 6.5 at Seattle, 45.5. This is one of those games. Seattle's, what a performance on Sunday night. And now adding Shaheed, great weapon addition for them. The way that Darnold's throwing, but you add Shaheed. Shaheed ought to be able to do something this week because he knows this offense because he played. So Clint Kubiak was the Saints offensive coordinator last year, so he's going to know that scheme already. So that should be a pretty quick fit. Adding him to J.S. Hender's number one receiver in the NFL with the way Darnold's playing. Having said all that, Arizona's fighting, man. You saw them play well at Dallas, and even some of the games at home. This being a division game, I feel like I'm Arizona or nothing. I think they're just playing hard, and I think Seattle at 6.5 looks like a kind of a public sucker side, in my opinion, is my read on this one.
Well, like I told you last week, Arizona is a better football team with Jacoby Brissett than Kyler Murray. Their offense just looks better. Obviously, the defense is playing hard right now as well. I like Arizona in this game. I'm not seeing a spread at the moment, so we'll have to see. There's clearly some question marks.
I'm seeing Seattle
surrounding that game.
6.5 on DraftKings.
6.5. I mean, give me the Cardinals plus 6.5. I like it.
Yeah. All right, my game of the week in the NFL, and y'all know me, I never take road favorites, but Detroit's minus 7.5 at the Commanders. Detroit's 12-0 off their last 12 losses, and the Commanders are deader than fried chicken. I mean, Jaden getting hurt in the fourth. McLaurin's had a lost year. They got no weapons. I think this is a Detroit bounce back, and they just come out and handle business here. I mean, I don't think this game's even close. I
agreed.
Yeah, I actually lean under 49.5 too. I just think Detroit controls it, has a 2 or 3 touchdown lead, and runs the ball in the second half. So, but I love Detroit minus 7.5, especially if you can get it down to 7, even better. But I like the under as well. Great game in San Francisco. The Niners had that overtime win over the Rams with everybody out earlier in the year. Now they catch the Rams. Niners catching 4.5 at home. Still dealing with a lot of injuries. Look, you and I both think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl, but this ain't the week I'm taking them laying 4.5 on the road against the Niners. The Niners fight them hard. All these games are close in this division. I would be Niners or nothing, but I don't want to bet against Stafford with the way the Rams are playing either, so I'm probably staying away.
Well, I'm on the other side of this one. I still love the Rams. I don't care. I don't trust Mac Jones or Brock Purdy to go beat Matthew Stafford. I just don't. I think the Rams are building something right now. Their offense looked unstoppable. The question in this game is, can they stop Christian McCaffrey? Because the 49ers are finding all these unique ways to use McCaffrey. He's leading running backs in receptions. I mean, he's doing a little bit of everything. So that's my concern in this game, is that he gets free and changes the game. But I like the Rams. I love the Rams.
Steelers, Chargers, Sunday night. Chargers are 45.5. Chargers offensive line issues really concern me with Joe Alt being out, plug and pinning in. The Steelers, TJ Watt looked like he was back last week. This is a spot I can't trust the Chargers with the O-line thing. I'm not sure I can take. I'm Pittsburgh or nothing. I think I'm a nothing on it. Lean under maybe.
The NFL, it makes it much more interesting if the Steelers lose and the Ravens win. So I'm going to go with the Chargers winning this game, just because the league wants to see it.
All right. Thing. Fair enough. And then we'll on our Monday show, we'll hit Eagles Packers. If Chad has any questions about any games or anything, feel free to fire away.
It doesn't look like we have a whole lot at the moment.
Okay, cool. Well, but other stuff, like I said, join us for the stream tonight for Thursday Night Football, Raiders Broncos. As I said, we got that parlay. I'll be tweeting out here in a minute with R.J. Harvey over 25, R.J. Harvey touchdown, and then under 14.5 Raiders and under 55.5 Genty. It's going to be like, with a 30% boost, it's going to be about 20-1. I'm also going to mention I'm going to Charleston, South Carolina this weekend for Holy Smokes. It's like basically the Hawks of the Cross Charleston. It's not as big. It's a smaller version, but a lot of my barbecue friends from around the country are going to be there. If you're in Charleston, come join us Saturday. It's 11 to 4 at Riverfront Park in North Charleston. 50 pit masters, 3 live bands. I mean, the weather's going to be 75, no rain. So going to be a beautiful Saturday in Charleston, South Carolina, and can't wait to get there for that. Moody, I'm a little concerned, though, because Trump announcing that there could be flight delays starting tomorrow because they're cutting back the TSA workers because the government shut down. So I'm hoping this doesn't affect my flying situation this weekend. It's not good.
Get there really early would be my suggestion, because there's a chance the line's incredibly long. Like, don't miss your flight because the line's really long. That would be my first suggestion to you.
All right. Well, join me Saturday if you can in Charleston, and check out the Barstool College Football Show in Starkville. And Moody, hope you have a heck of a weekend. Let's make some money.